Hello, welcome back to Watch This Film, YouTube channel dedicated to all things movies. Now today we have a movie review of a 1988 classic martial arts film, Bloodsport. Bloodsport is one of my favourite films, has been ever since I was a child. I've watched it many times and I continue to watch it to this day. And I will continue to watch it into the future. Bloodsport is everything a 1980s classic martial arts movie should be. We have a few known action stars, being Jean-Claude Van Damme and Bolo Yeung. Bolo plays our villain character Chong Li. Jean-Claude Van Damme plays a character called Frank Dukes. Now, this whole film is based on true events of Frank Dukes' telling. A story of a thing that occurred in Frank Dukes' life. And this is an event called the Kumite. Now, the Kumite is a secret underground martial arts competition where the best of the best from around the world get invited to come and take part. Now, there's a few questionable people who take part in this event, namely that of our character Jackson, who's played by Donald Gibb. Now, Jackson is a bit of a bromance character for Jean-Claude Van Damme. They meet up earlier at the sort of hotel where all the competitors are staying. They kick off a bit of a friendship and they go into this event now good buddies. But Donald Gibb's martial arts skill is non-existent. When you watch him fight, he's just a big lummoxing brute. Like the first guy he beats, after getting a few smacks around the chops, wallops him over the head. That's it. Done. Wallop. No skill, nothing. He was getting his butt kicked. He just got cross, shouted at his opponent, and bopped him on the head. Game over. Meanwhile, Jean-Claude's character, Frank Dukes, is very quick, very agile, very flexible. He gets tremendous height in his kicks and stuff. So the level between Mr. Frank Dukes and Mr. Jackson, vast. So how Jackson got there, don't know. But yeah, so this film has everything we need. The action actors, some flaky acting. We have some of the best cheesy 80s music ever laid down to martial arts movie history. And I think it's possibly the exact same music they used for a few Jean-Claude Van Damme's other 80s films. Certainly sounds very similar anyway. It's possibly the cheapest person they could find to perform whatever songs it was that they were playing. But yeah, it's a really fun, easy film to watch. It's not the greatest quality. It's not the greatest storyline. As I said, it's not the best acting. But it's an easy watching martial arts flick that I have watched many times. And if you're as old as me and a fan of martial arts, you've probably also watched it 1,000 times. Because it's good. The quality is not the best, but it's a good, fun, easy film. Now, Frank Dukes' character, his history is that he broke into a gentleman's house. Gentleman caught him, and in order to punish him, he wants him to help train his son in the martial arts. He does this, and then the son goes off to the Kumite and unfortunately is killed. So Jean-Claude Van Damme's character, Frank Dukes, decides he wants to avenge the death. So please teach me your ways. Please teach me the martial arts. I could do this. And his Shidoshi, Mr. Tanaka, agrees and trains him. And that's why he's so good now. He's an exceptional martial artist. And that's where his skill comes from. Our bad guy, Bolo Yeung, plays a character called Chong Li. And Chong Li is the current champion. And he is possibly the person who killed Mr. Tanaka's son. He quite happily beat the crap out of people and break your neck because why not? He's not a very nice guy. So we have problems with Chong Li beating up the bromance guy. Mr. Jackson gets a knock on the head. He's in hospital. So now we have a second level of revenge required from Mr. Jean-Claude Van Damme. This story all seems really wild, but remember, this is based on true events. But Jean-Claude Van Damme gets into the final. Obviously, would be no story without him getting there. He's fighting Mr. Chong Li, who's now concerned that he might lose because Mr. Frank Dukes is doing really well, and he's showing some extraordinary skills. Now, Mr. Giant Chong Li is a bit concerned. So he's going to cheat his way. It's the only way he knows how to win now. And what he does, he crushes up a tablet and he throws it into the eyes of Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like this. And Jean-Claude Van Damme provides one of the best scenes ever put to action film history. His eyes go all blurry. No idea what's going on. And he's now blocking things that aren't there. He's sweeping and throwing punches at nothing. Hilarious. But then it gets even better. He falls down to his knees. And in checking his eyes, he has himself a little paddy. Now, I don't know how he's got quite so much time to do this. Why Chong Li hasn't kicked his ass in the meantime. But he's having a little paddy on the floor. He goes... Quite what that noise is, where it come from, why it's there, but they did it. They stuck it in there. They ran with it. And the whole crowd laughs at this point. And I think rightfully so. It's ridiculous. Possibly laughing at the fact that Chong Li's just stood there watching him doing this stupid little screaming thing, but it adds a nice, tiny level of humour to the film. But he settles himself and calms down and ends up kicking Chong Li's butt half blind. But he gets there, he wins, obviously he's now the new champion. And so is the end of our film. Now what transpires in the many years since the release of this film is that Frank Dukes is a complete liar. None of this ever actually happened. The Kumite might well exist, but Frank Dukes certainly never went there. And if he did, he certainly didn't kick anyone's butt. But he made a decent amount of money out of the story in the film involving his true story, tales of his life. And why not? It sounds amazing. Learn martial arts, go to this event, become champion, leave with a nice shiny sword. Well done. Frank Dukes, champion for the future. Anyway, 1988's Bloodsport. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. My personal rating for the Bloodsport is a 4 out of 5. That's probably because it holds a very special place in my heart, having been introduced to it as a kid and watched it many times. Quality-wise, you're probably hitting a 2 out of 5, but it is a lot of fun. It's easy watching, and if you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it. So this is on my Watch This Film recommended list. 1988's Bloodsport, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. An action classic. I thank you very much.